All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about this general ledger kind of thing that I'm working on. It's actually grown, and actually, one of the supervisors of the county reached out. He wants to talk a little bit about what tooling I've been using. So, if anybody's interested in that as well, it started out with Google Sheets. Um, it's a lot of complex queries and pivot tables and lookups, and it's array formulas. It got really crazy, and I was just doing so much with charts. I was like, well, I need something more powerful than a spreadsheet. And so when I start getting the general ledger data, well, I tried creating I did create a spreadsheet at first and start building reports, but then I moved to a website which is just a LAMP stack, Linux, Apache. Usually the M is MySQL, but I'm using MariaDB because I believe Oracle purchased MySQL, and then PHP. So these are lots of drop downs that actually filter. So this used to be all on one page, and things just kept growing. So these are the filters. These are groups to change my series, my year-over-year chart. So the year-over-year chart, I'll show you what I'm trying to look for here. So right now you see at the bottom it says fiscal year 2024. If I go to filters, you can see I have fiscal year 2024 selected. If I remove that and go back to the chart, now we see 3 different fiscal years selected. Now, right now, I also have the treasurer. So right now, it's just showing me everything by fiscal year, but only for what the treasurer has been recording in the ledger. So I remove the department. I go back to the chart, and we have much larger values now because it's like every department in the county is now being reported and represented in this chart. It's kind of like a back and forth between the different tabs and such. I understand, but it's just an evolution over time, and I'm working things out to find out what works well. Grouping is interesting, and that affects what you see on the chart. So right now, all of these are grouped by fiscal year. If I go back to the grouping and I say, okay, I want to see everything by department. So I'll click on department. And let's just get rid of fiscal year. Here's all the departments. And they're going, you're seeing the seasonal change, but you're not seeing the seasonal change for each year because I removed that grouping by year. So you can see at the bottom we have our fund balance, federal revenue, fire and rescue. If I go back and put the fiscal year back on, now you'll see there's this fiscal year 2024 at the end, fiscal year 2025 at the end. So that's how I'm grouping things. There are too many results. This gets very busy. So I'm only showing 10 items at the most. And I introduced pagination, so if you want to see the next 10 items, you can, flip through. There's not really much to show here, but it's just part of some of the features I've been adding and trying to work around flooding data, because you get too much data, you can't really work with it, but it was a small hack that got me somewhere. Pie chart is interesting. Oh, let me limit some of this. So let's just say I want to see business licenses and utility tax. How about that? Let's go back to our pie chart. So now we see 2 departments here. We have our business license, And we have our utility tax. Now each department is then broken down into accounts, and we see all these account numbers. We got professional services, telephone, dues and memberships, lease, rent, equipment. Okay, we have all those accounts of what's being described of those where the money's being spent, and then that's broken out by vendors who are charging against those accounts, or who's receiving the money. So we have the department spending the money, what the money's for, and who's receiving the money. And some of these are broken down. So we have telephone being paid to ACOM LLC and Brightspeed. So it's just different views, different charts for me to just get a general grasp of where the money's being spent for the majority of what matches the filters. The year-over-year chart is mostly for me to find spikes in patterns. So we have seasonal patterns. So this is month by month, and it starts at the beginning of the fiscal year and ends at the end of the fiscal year, which begins in July and ends in June. And you can already see we've got a big giant spike in the business license, so we can actually get rid of the utility tax. Okay. Now we see it's specifically in 2025, so I can go and say, give me 2025. And we have a big spike still. So usually what I do is to figure out where that spike is, I can narrow it down by like account. And now that we are only a one department and 1 year, we're already grouped by that, so I can just narrow it down. So we've got accounts. Oh, we got a special projects fund is the spike. So that was the account. So the nice thing is I can search the accounts as special projects fund, so I can just type in the name or the number to find it. Okay, and then we will go back, since we're only looking at one account, I'll look at the vendor. So who's getting all that money? LifeScan Wellness Center. Wow. Okay. And you can see my pie chart as I'm narrowing down by department and account. You can actually see where most of the money is being spent and what vendors are getting it. So there's our LifeScan Wellness Center. And you can see like it'll actually break down. This is like the sum of all of those series that I tried to get the unique. So here's the year over year by month, and the sum chart just tells me what the total value is over the full year. So, we've got, LifeScan Wellness Center. It's just a different view of the pie chart. Some people like this, some people like this. All right, so we got LifeScan Wellness. So the next thing I like to do is we have reports. If you want to drill down, this can get very, very long, and it'll show you like fiscal year, 1 year after another. So if I get rid of the fiscal years, I can go back to the report, and now I see like 2024, 2025, 2026. This is their year over year totals with the drill downs as well. So we can see where, potentially a lot of money has been spent in 1 year versus another rather than by the month. Business license, health services. Why are we spending so much money on business licenses? Wouldn't this be money coming in to the county? Why is the county spending money on a business license? That's weird. Unless, let me see. Is this revenue or expenditure? Let's see. They're all expenditures. Okay. I just look at different ways of this. All right, let's look at the data. so the data is pretty much the way that I received the data as CSV files, almost. um, but you can see this is more like the raw version of everything. And I've got this nice little scrolling thing, so you know, if I've got like 8,000 records or so, it's grabbing like 100 at a time as I scroll up and down instead of all the data all at once. Today I've added this ability to to download the CSV file, so I can just download that, and there's my CSV file. So this is the data, pretty much the same format that I received it for the most part, or an actual spreadsheet, so I can do both CSV and spreadsheets, and it's just showing me the exported data. So this is a little bit different in the spreadsheet, as I can control the width of the columns, the format of some of the data, like all the format of the dates. I added the padded numbers, so you can see over here with the CSVs, they're actual numbers, but but over here they are padded. Now the CSV file itself actually is the like 7 zeros for that PO number. It's just that numbers recognized as a number and decide to format it and remove the padded zeros, whereas with a spreadsheet I was able to retain the padded zeros. I can also set the width of these columns, so that's why the vendor name is a little bit wider than the others, because I manually modified that width. Oh, the accounts paid, no, okay. Yeah, there's not much else to talk about here. Oh, so you can see here there is some coloring. So I go ahead and I figured out the median value. So if you have a list of 1 to 10 and 9 of the values are 1 and the last value is 10, you don't want the average, which would be so 19 divided by 10 would be 2, right? So the average is 2, but the median would be 1. You want the median is just the middle value when you sort all those values. So it's a different way that I prefer to kind of remove bias in a way, or just weighted values. Anyway, I figured out what the median value is with the minimum and maximum values sorted, and the maximum here, or the minimum here, is $50. So it's green, but every value towards the median value gets lighter until it becomes white. So you can see $420 is a lighter green. There aren't any that are actually red except for this guy. So I'm assuming this either 1080 or maybe 3400. Wow, even 5000. Oh, probably because this is just so high. It's such a high spike and far removed from the center that hardly any of the other ones have a chance to become red. Anyway, the red is usually the ones I'm really looking for, because it's the highest number. And when you have a spike in the value such as this, it's usually one of the only ones that are red. But it's mainly like I'm looking for patterns and things that jump out, and this is one of the tools I use, is the min-max and the medians with color gradients. One of the things you'll notice at the top here, as I change my filtering, the query string changes. So if I put in batch to 612.631. So now that bat file, or that the bat parameter is here, I can actually select multiple ones here. In fact, I was noticing this the other night, is that we have a lot of vendors. They're duplicated. I think there's like 14 Mansfield vendors in the system. And basically each department can just keep adding vendors. They don't have to use existing ones. And so to figure out what this one vendor is receiving is kind of a pain to figure out. So it's field, and there should be one more. So I still have to work on the interface here because this expanding is just horrible. Is there anybody else for Mansfield? No. Okay. Part of the problem is they misspell Mansfield sometimes. Sometimes they'll flip the here Mansfield, Filed. This one doesn't have oil in the middle. I know sometimes they spell company wrong as well. Company. Here we go. Comapny. So people just do it wrong sometimes. So we got all of our Mansfield reports. Let's keep our fiscal year in. Now we see what is Mansfield getting every year, month by month. And we can kind of see that there are some spikes and then some low points. There are some things I want to do to this chart to help me see different ways of patterns, because sometimes if I have two payments in the same month, like at the beginning and the end, it shows a spike compared to everything else. So I need to find different ways to represent a year so that I can detect that issue easier. Here we go. We got many departments using Mansfield. We've got the federal revenue, maintenance of building grounds. Invalid account, I've learned, is actually cost recovery. For some reason they can't change it in their system, but they all know what it means. So I had to actually ask them, hey, what does this account number mean? Because I just saw 2 ambulances being charged against this account the other night for approval at the supervisor meeting. So we got all of our departments, and we got all these accounts under the departments. So we got vehicle powered equipment fuel. It's usually the same thing, isn't it? 5408. It's a lot of it. And then we have all the vendors. But the thing is, it's always the same vendor. It's just somebody kept entering a different entry for the same vendor. So you can see every department has its own separate vendor. So here we go. So these are departments. So he's Mansfield. So they're using a separate company. They're using a separate company. Okay, so Federal Revenue and E911 are using the same company. Here we go. Building inspections used 2 companies, the 5741 and 5869. It's the same company. It doesn't make sense why this is happening. Yeah, this department, maintenance of building and grounds, They used 4 different companies. Like, what's going on, guys? Let's see. So, we even have tourism using it. And then we have data. So you can see where these are individual transactions. We've got a pretty high one at $6,000 here. And here's the issue. We don't see departments here, but they are here. So this right here, this number represents the department, and this part of the number represents the actual account number that has a description. And the 4, that means it's revenue. No, it's an expenditure. If it was 3, I think it would be revenue, or is it 1? And then the rest of the numbers here mean other things, such as like the type of funding or the function. So that's mostly like when you go here. So I can say, okay, 3 is revenue, 4 is expenditure, and 0 is cash. So expenditure is what we're looking at. And I think it was 1, general government administration is what we're looking at. Yeah, so they end with 1. So they're all government administration. You can see that's $10. It's pretty low. Mainly anything around $6,000 to $7,000 is red because that's the high end of transactions. Some of these are very light pink, just because they are so close to the median. Let's see. Yeah, and the other thing is you can see like the net amount, that is a dollar figure, but I'm like, well, that's the way they present the data to me, so I'm just going to show it without the dollar figure. But if you download the Excel file, I do format it as currency. There you go. You can see the dollar sign and the comma. Whereas if you look at the CSV file, there's no dollar sign because it's just raw data without formatting. And like even the file names up here, they are based on the URL parameters that you used in the filter. So account 3003, department 12030. But then you have this date string at the end of it. And if you have too many parameters listed, then it'll actually cut it off and add like a hash value, so that like Windows systems can still download the file without complaining about it. So there's lots of stuff going on here. There is a ton of stuff I still want to do. I have a whole list. Let's see, where is my list? So here's my to-do list of things I'd like to do. I should probably enter these as individual GitHub issues and just reference them as I check in my changes, but you know, I had to start somewhere. All right, so that's that in a nutshell. I haven't heard back from the supervisor yet if what time he wants to meet. Even county administrator reached out to me a few weeks ago, and I think I don't know if he got sick or he had to stay home with the kids around Thanksgiving, and then I got sick, and so and it's the holidays now, so nobody's really doing too much right now in terms of, you know, getting a lot of work done. Just because it's, when you get a few people together, it is hard to get multiple people together with holiday schedules around this time of year. I don't know. Oh, and these are MUI, Material UI controls. And then this is the front end is React with TypeScript using Vite. And I'm just hosting this on Bluehost right now. This is pretty lightweight. Like, you could get a Raspberry Pi and run this. It is so lightweight. And mainly what I'm finding is the tools that the county uses. It's just not good. I don't know how to explain it other than oh, why are these not? Wait a minute. Not all these are government administration. Interesting. So here's the here's something with this is these values, the drop down list is filtered based on higher levels. So the function, when you look at that long account number, the function is near the beginning of it. Oh, but the vendor's not part of that account number. But anyway, I have a thing where there are different parts of this, and they're sort of in order here right now, from left to right, top to bottom. So if you choose fiscal years, then all the other lists filter themselves so that they're only going to show you what was used during that fiscal year. And then if I choose batch numbers, which is specific to a check or a check date, it'll further limit, like all the revenues are going to limit things. So it looks like everybody's revenue at this point.
I better help out. The holidays are a time of traditions, like making your
But
recipe, or watching that movie you've seen 1,000 times.
There's actually stuff missing here because I didn't do stuff for revenue. Because these OL1s, they are only associated with expenditures, and there's a different list I need to put into the system to account for expenditures that I can filter on. But yeah, nobody's bringing in revenue from Mansfield from these vendors. That's definite. So if I just do that, and I will go by what department maybe. So now you can see all the departments bringing in money. Cost recovery fee. Why is cost recovery fees a department separate from the invalid account? Gosh. All right, so I'm just gonna stop it there. Let's see. Have fun.